Hey, thanks again for pressing play. Thank you. Seriously, thank you for pressing play, for taking a little time out of your day. Whether you're watching on YouTube or watching on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, or you're listening to this podcast, wherever you absorb your pod forms. Thanks for hanging out with the Suns Jam Session podcast. My name, John Boyda, managing editor, brightsideofthesun.com. And I'm joined by my podcasting partner, one, the only, Matthew Paul Lissy. And we're here to talk to you about the Phoenix Suns. That's what we do here. So welcome.
Yes, and a victory. So happy to be here, John. And I took my glasses off because, that was for the playback only. So now glasses are off. We're going to get a little frisky with this thing and have a good pod. I think we'll get a lot of watchers tonight.
Yeah, get a lot of watchers or not. I'm just looking forward to talking about a good Phoenix Suns game. I don't care if nobody watches. Remember when we used to do this thing and we'd get excited that we had like 40 listeners?
Yeah.
Like we had 40 listeners, and my mom
and her friends.
Yeah, my mom and her friends. Back in the Matthew sipping the wine.
Yeah, just a little bit.
What kind of wine? What's your vintage?
It is a port wine.
Oh, Matthew and his port, man. It's the dessert wine.
Second glass.
Oh,
I thought my honey bunny was drinking tonight, so I was like, I'll drink a little bit, but she didn't drink. Now I'm like, oh,
you're gonna get frisky on this pod because port wine is
got the whiskers out.
We better watch out. Well, Suns fans, you better watch out because Matthew's gonna get frisky. I'm looking around me right now.
Okay.
I just see empty beer cans everywhere. We did a playback. For those of you who don't know, if you follow the link in our description below, you can find the Bright Side of the Sun playback channel, where from time to time, and something more recently, what we're doing is we're watching Phoenix Suns games on the playback channel. And you can watch them right along with us. And for an already casual podcast that we are, we get even more casual. I got to start taking notes on just like bullet points of some of the things that we discuss as we just kind of talk. We're talking about how much a 2012 Honda Civic is on Carvana. We're talking about me getting slapped by a cat, at halftime. It's a good time. So if you get a chance, head over to our Bright Side of the Sun playback channel and give us a sub. So Matthew's drinking port wine. I've got some empty beers around me, but I got a fresh one right here that I'm going to pop right open. So
beautiful.
Suns fans, pop them if you got them. And let's talk about this Phoenix Suns game against the Golden State Warriors. Warriors. The lamest fourth quarter chant ever.
Yes.
Session podcast, shooting the shit about the Suns since 2019.
And this is one of the best games that we played this season as the Phoenix Suns easily handle the Golden State Warriors 130-105. And this is big for the Suns because we entered going 9-13 thus far on the road, a team that is behind us in the standings. And I don't know if it was necessarily the battle that ESPN had projected early in the season when they were assigned this game, but it was the 9th seed versus the 11th seed. But it brings me to my first question.
Matthew, I've got to ask.
Matthew, I got to ask, do you feel like we've had less 8 p.m. Arizona start games? Because that shit ends on March 9th.
Yeah. Like beforehand, this is the first one, right?
It's been a while since we've had.
It's been a long time because we usually complain about it.
Yeah,
we're usually upset because it was at 8:30 starts too. TNT sometimes. Those are the brutal ones, but we haven't been too upset. So I've kind of just been ignoring it. And then you look at the schedule like 8 o'clock. So here they come, guys. Are you ready? We're ready. I think we're prepared. I won't be here tomorrow night, but yeah, we're ready.
Thanks, but I'll be here by myself. No, it's interesting because I was thinking about it. obviously, yes, if you've listened to the podcast for a long time, one of the things that Matthew and I do is from time to time we'll bitch at a late start that happens on the West Coast in the middle part of the season, because from November to March, daylight savings time happens and the clock kind of moves around Arizona time. But we knocked out a lot of our Pacific Division games early in the season in that first month in in October and the beginning of November. We played the Lakers a couple times. We played the Clippers a couple times. And yes, we have a game tonight again at 8 p.m. We have one tomorrow at 8 p.m. against the Trailblazers. But I was thinking about it as we're preparing for this. I'm like, man, I don't feel like we've had a ton of these because I haven't been bitching and moaning about it. So, in that capacity, that's a good thing. Another good thing is the way that the Phoenix Suns played tonight, winning easily, as I mentioned. Final score 130-105. And it brings me to the question that I don't know if you've seen this one yet, but when was this game over?
When was it over?
So, Matthew, when was this game over from your point of view?
I think the start of the third quarter, the way the Suns came out very strong and, kind of put them away early in the third. It wasn't really them waiting till the end of the third or the start of the fourth. They came out and they played brilliant. The way they ended the first half, I think, was really good. I think that they had the 12-point, 13-point lead, I forget, at the halftime. And it kind of made you think, like, what? Is this team going to kind of let up a little bit in the second half? But they didn't. They came out strong. So we were talking to in the playback, the last three games, including this one, that's been a little bit different. Excuse me. It's been a different Suns team. I saw ghosts. Sorry, it happens once in a while.
It haunts you via phlegm balls.
Yeah, no phlegm on the playback, but just for the pod. But I think that when they're playing that great in the last three games, even though the third quarter stunk last game, there's a different kind of feel with this team right now, different kind of belief. So I think I kind of believed it early in the third. What about you?
I'm right there with you. I think that obviously, like, we played the Clippers and we were up 13 at the half against the Clippers. But the way that we came out, permitting a 20-6 run right out of the gate, evaporating our lead, and going down, I think it was 67-66 in that game, where it was just like, okay, now we have to get into a rock fight. And then what did the Suns do in that game? They built their lead back up, ultimately to only win by 2. In this game, it was the energy in which they came out in that third quarter, and it was the energy on the defensive end. Now, they outscored the Warriors 36-28 in that quarter, but the Warriors only had 14 points through the first 10 minutes. They had 14 points in the last 2 minutes of that quarter, and thankfully Kevin Durant decided to hit 3 consecutive threes as they were making their run to soften the blow of that happening. But it's the same thing that I say and have said about this team throughout the season, is that their best defense needs to be defense, because sometimes they carry themselves as if their best defense is their offense, that they have the ability, due to their elite shot makers, to outscore you. And that on paper is how the Suns are designed to play. You have a head coach who has an affinity for shooting the three ball. You have Kevin Durant. You've got Devin Booker, Bradley Beal coming in off the bench, and then you're surrounding them with quality shooters like Royce O'Neal and Grayson Allen and Tyus Jones. So you think like, oh yeah, we just, our best way to drown you is to keep the faucet on at all times. But the challenge is when you do that and you start to lose focus on the defensive end, opposing teams can put runs on you. And guess what happens? The faucet gets turned off, and now you're flustered because you don't know what to do. They came out in that third quarter, and Steph Curry was trying to get going. He had a couple quick shots, but then it was Nick Richards blocking the ball, Ryan Dunn being a menace, forcing the Golden State Warriors into turnovers. In that quarter, they had 3 that equated to very few points, but they attacked the paint, which they should, because this Warriors team is undersized with Draymond Green and Kuminga being out. In the third quarter alone, they outscored them 18-10 in the paint. That's when it was over.
Yeah, it's incredible how this team can kind of, get over those turnovers at certain points of the game. Like today, in tonight's game, you had Bradley Beal just make a few kind of bad mistakes here or there. Devin Booker last game with the 9 turnovers. That was just really killer last game. That really kind of just demoralized the team, and they had a hard time coming back. When you look at the other side of the ball with Golden State Warriors, they're kind of just like, the same kind of team as the Suns, right? They have Steph Curry, they have the oldies there, trying to hold on, not knowing what to do by the trade deadline. But also, if Steph's not hitting and Pods, everyone hates that guy. Like all the fan base hates that guy. He's having a hard time this year.
And you're talking about from the Golden State perspective.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. That's the guy they don't want to have the ball or to play ISO or to do anything with the ball. I just think if they're trying to ride a hot hand of Steph Curry trying to get him back in the game, it just doesn't happen. They don't really have anything else. So I think they can kind of get in their own heads too, right? They don't have Kuminga as well, who I didn't know till I bet the over 16 points, and he wasn't playing the game, so I lost a lot of money there. But yeah, he's been out with the ankle.
You're so full of shit. That's
I know.
You clearly don't know that. Like what FanDuel does is they just negate that bet because he didn't play.
Yeah, I know. I'm joking, but I was going into it thinking he was available when he wasn't. So there's injuries on the other side too. But what Golden State's trying to do, they're trying to find themselves too. So the Suns kind of beat them to it tonight, where they can hit big shots. They had their guys surrounding Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, the Royce O'Neal, Grayson Allen's playing really, I think, heavy defense, really helping out with team rebounding, doing the dirty things that they need to do. And that's what Golden State didn't have tonight. And once you get to that point where the Suns are just kind of like in the trenches, playing hard, making the right plays, limiting the turnovers at times, then you got to play this Golden State team. And then you're wide open for three. Like I think the fourth quarter, the Suns were just kind of just letting them go like layups from behind the arc because Golden State just kind of gave up. And this is the first time I think we've seen all season where a team kind of just is done by like I think the 7 or 8 minute mark because the Suns did not stop and they kept putting the pressure on that team. And that's what they need to do because they got to strike some fear in these other opponents, which we haven't had all year long.
Yeah, this was the most complete game by the Phoenix Suns, and it should be. We had 0 people on the injury report. They're missing 2 starters in Draymond Green and Jonathan Kuminga. And I wrote in the preview for brightsideofthesun.com that if the Suns want to stand a chance in this game, they need to match Golden State's energy and defensive tenacity. And they did. And that's where the Suns have failed so many times this season. And tonight they succeeded and we should celebrate it. I don't want to talk about things that went wrong. I want to talk about things that went right. And a lot of things went right. One of them is an interesting stat. I haven't verified this, but I'll throw it out there.
Ooh, dang, stat me.
I'm going to shout out to Saul H. Soto on this one. I don't know if this is true, but he says 40 plus assists tonight, the most since 2022. If that is indeed correct, I can verify the fact that the Phoenix Suns ended this game with a total of 41 assists. The ball was moving spectacularly in this game, finding the right shooter, some difficult passes by Devin Booker, holding on to the ball. They still had 15 turnovers, which led 15 points for Golden State, and vice versa. It was 12 turnovers by Golden State, allowed only 7 points for the Suns. But it was really a testament to why ball movement and ball security are so vital to the success of this team. We were talking a ton during it, and Greg Hughes says ESPN says 42. I don't know. I'm just looking at. I see 40.
This is 42 assists.
Where?
On
Hoops OMG.
Yeah.
I see 41. Maybe I'll just need.
Yeah,
to
we do that
refresh.
sometimes. I don't know what happens. We do
I'm
that with
refreshing the
rebounds a lot.
page. Yeah, there's a media site. Yeah, I still see 41.
Crazy.
Anyways, it doesn't matter. The fact that this
Crazy
team
numbers.
was playing as crisp and connected it was just fun to watch, man. And wasn't it fun to watch?
No, it was a lot of fun. We give this team a lot of shit in the paint where they don't really finish around the rim, especially the bigs, Plumlee being one of them. We've gotten kind of used to Nick Richards, who can throw it down at times, but even the guards getting into the paint, we give shit to Bradley Beal at times, not finishing strong, but do you really want him to with the injuries? But what they were doing a lot tonight was getting in the paint and kind of just moving the ball around, moving it out to the corners when they're down there. A few turnovers here or there. But that's what they were doing. They were kind of finding the guy from 3, and it was completely wide open, right? 19 made threes tonight. Obviously, that's where a lot of the assists came from. but they're looking for the threes. They're looking for the extra guy. They're not going to try to throw some shit up there and not get a foul. I think they know with the unit on the court at times, or most of the time during the game, we have so many shooters that are going to get good looks. They're going to be in the right spot at the right time. And that's what they were doing tonight. I just think they was moving at a pace to where these guys can kind of get set and get to where they want their areas. And also just like not overstep each other. Like they just were playing their own games, but actually as a cohesive unit too.
Yes.
So it's something we always seen all year long where these guys are kind of individualized. They just stick out individually. You don't want it to happen because you want them to play as a team. But tonight you just kind of see it just come together. And it is Golden State, a team that is struggling at times. But, you know, these opponents, it still doesn't matter to me. I think this team, they have to work at just kind of getting used to each other and trusting each other even more as these games go by. So it's a huge win tonight. It's the biggest of the year, I think. I don't care who they're playing. The 130 to 105 score, it's brilliant. And sitting your starters at the end with 5 minutes left, that's what you want to see.
Especially on the first night of back-to-back. And just,
yeah,
everyone's saying 42.
It is 41 now.
Okay.
I just refreshed. So I think there's this.
Yeah, because like I look at the Suns media website. That's what I'm pulling up and I'm sharing for everybody. And it says 41, like right in there. That's where I'm getting my information. So, anywho, let's talk about. I want to start with Kevin Durant in this one because I thought he had a vital stretch, even though he might not have had what you would have defined as the prototypical great game. But Kevin Durant tonight.
Who the heck are you?
I'm Kevin Durant.
You know who I am. Y'all know who I am.
Did anybody see a sniper? Did anybody see anything?
I'm one of the best players to ever play the game.
Hello, everybody. This is Matthew Lissy.
Oh, I just kicked myself off stage. Kevin Durant, 19 points tonight. I've been drinking beers.
Well, this is Matthew Lissy show.
19 points tonight for Kevin Durant on his return to Golden State, but only 29 minutes played. That's the beautiful statistic right there. 6 of 13 from the field, 5 of 9 from beyond the arc, 6 total rebounds, 3 assists, only 1 turnover, had a block shot, had a steal. And it might not have been statistically the greatest game from Kevin Durant, but there was one thing that I took from this game that was, I don't know, prophetic of how the Suns can be. And it probably comes from the amount of passing and the connectivity against a team that isn't a great defensive team. A team that started this season as a great defensive team definitely fell off. They weren't just feeding the ball into post to KD and then everyone was standing around watching in this game. That's what I noticed. They didn't need to rely on that. They didn't need him to back down, and then get to his spot and then take a difficult shot, which to his credit, he's amazing at executing. But they didn't have to rely on that in this game. And as I mentioned before, he only had 10 points through the first 34 minutes of game time in this game. And in that final 2 minutes in the third quarter, when he just went nuclear and hit 3 consecutive 3-point shots. And what do you think spurred that on? What do you think of KD tonight? What do you think of him talking shit with Gary Payton?
Yeah, that's what spurred it on.
Yes.
Exactly right after he hit 3-3. I thought it was 4-4. I think he was going nuts. I'm like, 4 threes in a row. It's a record. But it was just 3. He was incredible tonight. And he's basically just the queen ant of this team. Like, I feel like he was there and everyone's just kind of suckling. What did they do to the queen ant? I don't know. They just help him out. All the other ants do everything else. And Katie's just
queen bee.
Katie's just like fucking going through it, just, living the long career and just going out the night before. And everyone's just kind of doing their jobs. And he's sitting there. He's not fat and he's definitely bigger than everybody else. So I'm trying to do a little bit of a comparison between him and a queen ant. It's not really working out.
You're trying. You're trying. You should go with like a queen tarantula.
Yeah, I don't know if there is one, but he just reminds me of a queen ant where everyone's just working around him, and he's just like, he's just like trying to like dribble the ball, dribbling off himself. Just the defense is too much for him. Just he just needs to be killed and bring another one in. Start a new colony.
What are you talking about? Where'd you go with that?
I had some wine tonight too.
That's the port talking. The thing I'll say about KD, and for those of you who watched it, it was somewhat comical. Gary Payton, not Gary Payton II, who plays for the Warriors, but Gary Payton. This will be a random trivia time. If I can find the drop real quick. We have so many. Here we go.
You know what time it is.
Trivia time.
All right, random trivia because we're talking about Gary Payton. Where did Gary Payton go to college?
USM.
University of South Methodist.
I have no idea. Where did
He went to Oregon State. Random,
Oh, okay.
random.
I
An
would have
old
never guessed that.
old beaver there, but he's in like the second or third row, and he starts engaging with Kevin Durant. They're yelling back and forth, and it's great. And it's what makes Kevin Durant so fun to watch. Is not only the way that he plays basketball, but how he does engage with the fans. Like he really is. And it was great hearing Justin Termini talk on the Bill Simmons podcast today about how him and Kevin Durant have differences because of the critical nature in which Justin Termini's been of Kevin Durant, especially leaving Oklahoma City to go to Golden State. But he's like, he still is friendly and will talk some shit to you. He has fun with it. That's why she would unblock me so we could be friends and we could talk shit to each other. But they start talking shit back and forth in the middle of the third, and then he just goes nuclear and shuts a very vital part of the game. That end of the fourth was a very vital, or end of the third, I'm sorry, is a very vital part of the game, because that's when all of a sudden the Warriors offense woke up. But the Suns, for every punch, had a counter punch, and that counter punch's name was Kevin Durant.
Yeah, and he was at the 10-point mark, and I'm like, damn, this is going to be crazy, because he's had 18 points this year. He's had 13 points once when he played about maybe 16 minutes in a game. So he's never been below 20 points other than that. So I kind of thought he would be held to that, and he was. The 19, which is kind of crazy to see. But then you also have at the other end, Steph Curry. What did he have? 14 points tonight? So it was
on 14 shots.
Yeah, 14 points on 14 shots. So there's that thing going around, and I just where you want to see a lot of the teams out west.
Is it Nurk's chlamydia?
Oh yeah, well that's everyone has that. Yeah, I think that
Nurk looks like
about,
a
right?
shriveled chlamydia penis. You know what you said on the playback tonight?
I think, did I say that on playback?
Maybe
the port hurt. Yeah, hit a little earlier. Yes, I don't know where I was gonna go with that, so we can move on.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Big Dick Booker.
All right, there is plenty to talk about as it relates to Devin Booker. Obviously, he was quote unquote snubbed from the All-Star game, did not get selected as a reserve. As a result, he goes out tonight, 12 of 23 from the field, including 5 of 11 from beyond the arc, puts a 31-11 spot out there. 31 points, 11 assists, also had 5 rebounds, only 2 turnovers, a team best plus 28. So I don't know where we want to start on this one. Do you want to start with, was Devin Booker snubbed? Do you want to talk about how he played tonight and what you saw from him? What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I think just starting with the snub thing. So the way I kind of view Devin Booker's career is, where he came from, he was drafted 13th, right, for the Phoenix Suns, and nothing was really expected of him. I don't think really a lot of people believed in him. I thought early on he had something there, but nothing what he is now. I don't think he's basically made himself into a player that no one kind of even thought would ever happen. So whatever he's doing right now, and whatever he kind of adds onto his career, I feel like is a bonus, right? I think he went to the finals, obviously, scoring 40 points in the finals. Great playoff numbers. You want to always have him on a team that has a point guard, obviously, that has a good surrounding to kind of feed off of him, because he is a star you can build a team around. It's crazy that he's not the guy that's going to be automatically just an all-star because he's played every game basically this year. He's missed a few games of injuries, but he basically played every game. The stats are okay. They're not the best. But he's never going to be a shoe-in like a Steph. He's never going to be a shoe-in like a Jason Tatum or anything like that. He's just not.
Never win the fan vote.
No, he won't. And he's not going to win. He's not going to be a starter. And he's going to be a guy that it's going to be based off the team and how good they're doing, right? So when the team falters, like, he goes down with it, even though he's been pretty incredible at times, but it's been kind of an off and on year. But his career now, I think that anything that he kind of adds to it is just a plus. I think he's going to go down as the best son of all time. Mm-hmm. He's done already enough plus some. So anything else is going to be good. I just don't think anything is guaranteed for him in the future, which is just crazy. You know what I mean? Like, everything he still has to earn every year. And that's just the thing that separates him from a lot of the other stars out there.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you just said. He will have to earn it every single year. And it's because he doesn't have the national admiration that players like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, when he got voted into probably a couple All-Star games where he probably didn't earn it, but due to the admiration that he invoked across the entire NBA landscape, it occurred. Booker will have to be somebody who earns it. And, I look at this situation. Was he snubbed or wasn't he? And I'll start here. His numbers in January say he's an all-star. He averages, not including tonight, 27.1 points per game. And that's what he averaged all of last season, but he did that in January. But his inconsistent season and the Suns' middling record have left him on the outside looking in. He didn't have a great November. He didn't have a great December. And part of that and some of the good conversation about that is, perhaps there was the Olympic hangover where he was trying to apply aspects of his game to this Suns team. He's like, hey, it worked with them. Obviously, I have to be more involved offensively here, but maybe I can just kind of take what I've done with this Olympic team and apply it to this Suns team. And it didn't work out necessarily how he wanted it to. He's also being asked to shoot a lot more threes in a system that is, for the first time, a new system to him in the past 5 years. There's no Kevin Young here. He's in Mike Budenholzer's system, and he's learning that. And Budenholzer has adjusted to him, and that's why we're seeing in January the all-star version of Book. But it is a season-long award or selection, and the coaches make that selection. And you think about his past snubs when the Suns were a dumpster fire. And this year the argument shifts to winning or lack thereof, and that's the gray area. Was he snubbed? Could be, but it's just as likely that this is going to fuel his fire for a post all-star game surge, just like he's done in the past, right? You go back to like 2018/19 when we felt he was snubbed. That was a team that had like 14 wins at the all-star break. He was amazing on that team, but he didn't make it because the team didn't win games. He averaged 31-7 for post all-star game in that. In 2020, when he was an injury replacement, so technically snubbed, 27.2 and 7.1 assists after the all-star break. 2021, he was an injury replacement, 26.1 and 4.2 assists afterwards. And then in 23, where he didn't make the All-Star game, but he also had missed some time due to an injury, he ended the season post All-Star break 29.7 points per game, 29.7 and 5.5 assists. Booker's always been a slow starter, and that's why, to your point, he will always have to earn an All-Star game because he's never going to come out and average 30 a night. And winning has something to do with it. And I know that a lot of people say that he's snubbed, but the Suns are the 9th seed in the Western Conference. You look at LaMelo Ball, right? He's 4th in the league in scoring, but his team's ass. So guess what? He didn't make it. And I see what like Saul H. Soto says. He goes, snubbed. He is the third shoot. He is 2-3 shooting guard in the West. I think he is the second or best shooting guard in the West. That may be true, but they don't select it by specific position. They select it by front court, back court, and guards. And or front court, back court. That's all it is, front court, back court. And there's other players, like Norman Powell was truly snubbed. He's having an all-star season on a good team, and he didn't make it. James Harden, you can make an argument. Jalen Williams on the best team in the Western Conference, you can make an argument. Booker, I don't think he was snubbed in this situation.
I don't think so either. And I think that the way this kind of goes down now, I was always in the favor of like, hey, if Booker doesn't get what he wants here, if he's not winning, then he'll want to get out. I kind of look at it as if like, I think the whole Beal thing kind of just put this whole thing into perspective where the trade probably won't happen. And Beal's like, why would I want to go anywhere else? Right. I'm on the bench. I'm going to kill it. I'm getting paid a ton of money and they can't trade me and I want to stay here in Phoenix. I kind of just keep thinking with these players nowadays, and it's fine with me. I just don't think I care as much either. But with the winning, like I don't think it's something that obviously he wants to win a championship, but like, why would he want out of here too? You know what I mean? If he wants the more respect and all that, I think that was something he was always chasing before, but now he's like at a point in his career where he's just like, I want to be here probably for forever. If we don't win one, that's fine. They're always going to accommodate me. They're going to give me whatever I want. We're going to surround me with players that I always want to be around, or players that want to come here to play with me. So making the All-Star game, all that stuff, who cares, right? I'm going to get the next max, the next super max here in Phoenix, and I want to live here. So I don't really worry about these things too much with Devin Booker anymore because I feel like it is what it is now with him. And I just think it's not really just focused on like, oh, we got to win a championship this year, otherwise I'm out of here. I just think it's like, no, I'm going to be here the rest of my career, Steph-like, it's not going to be obviously as much success, but I just want to be here and I like it here, and I don't want to worry about chasing titles the rest of my career.
Yeah, I think that the validity that he belongs amongst the best has already occurred for him. He's a 4-time All-Star. He's he's a 2-time Olympian. And I don't know if he carries necessarily the chip, at least publicly, that he did before, because he's been interviewed in the past after being snubbed, and he's kind of questioned the process, right? That's not happening right now. Long term, I don't know what it necessarily means by not making an All-Star game. And again, to your point, I don't know if he cares. And I do see some people, 8th seed right now. Yes, we're the 8th seed. Yeah, we're the 8th seed now after winning tonight. But before this, we were the 9th seed when the selection occurred. And I do want to get a shout out to Let's Play GTA 5. He says, LOL, this team sucks. Thank you, Warriors fans, for being Warriors fans, for spending your night going to Suns podcast and trolling. That's just like cool, man. Go talk to your Warriors buddies.
I think I'm going to create a separate channel for the
Warriors fans, or if he says Denver on top. Okay. On top of your mom. All right. I'm
going to create a separate channel though, where after this pod, I'm going to go and just do my own thing with these people.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's going to get real feisty.
You want to hear my book 1 story?
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah. Hey, yeah. Book 1 story, and I love your hat.
Well, thank you. This hat, if you can't see it, it says Al on it. It's made by Suns Unitracker. So if you go to @Suns Unitracker on Twitter, you can take a look. He's got some links in there. It's got Shazam underneath the bill. It's got the years of Al McCoy's, time on Earth. It's a great looking hat. Already a top favorite. But here is grown ass man making your mom jokes. LOL. A douchebag going in opposing team's post game podcast to tell us we're going to go to Cancun early this year. So book 1. So I ordered the new pair of book 1s, right? The book 1 Cortezes. Ordered them last Friday, 8 a.m. Got them on StockX. Super excited. They're beautiful looking shoes. They match a lot of things, and I just feel like running. And the interesting thing is they're supposed to be coming through FedEx, and I get the tracking number, and it's like, hey, on Wednesday morning, 6:08 a.m., your package is on Edwin's truck out for delivery. I was like, sweet, dude, I'm going to get my book 1s today. That's perfect. Whole day goes by, checking notifications, never delivered, watching my Nest camera to see if anybody comes and drops it off. Nobody does. It's like, okay. So Thursday comes and goes, same thing. Today comes and goes. I'm kind of getting concerned about Edwin. I don't know. Maybe this delivery driver's stuck out in the middle of nowhere. His FedEx truck crashed and my shoes are on it, and nobody's checked in on poor little Edwin. He's just out in the desert somewhere in a crashed FedEx truck. Either that or Edwin's walking around somewhere with a fresh new pair of book 1s on, and I'll never get my shoes.
It reminds me of Curb Your Enthusiasm show where this happens and he does crash and maybe he's dead and you're just like, can I get my shoes? Like, can I still get my shoes? Like, you go to the funeral and like, hey, my shoes are on his truck, dude. Does anybody here work at FedEx?
It's literally what's happening to me, man. It's literally what's happening to me.
I thought you already got them in.
No, I've been sitting around waiting for Edwin to show up.
I
with
thought
my
I saw a
fucking
picture
shoes.
of one. Okay.
No.
Oh, sorry, man.
Nicky, the great Nick Richards. Richard means dick, that's why he's Nicky, the great Nick Richards.
So Nick Richards, great game in this one. Again, kind of still following that model that we've seen since he joined the team, right? When he plays against subpar competition, which is what I would define the Golden State Warriors as, the 11th seed in the Western Conference, he has really good games. Against top-notch competition, not so much, right? Against the Wolves, he didn't really have a great game, although Coach Budenholzer really didn't play him accordingly. And kind of the same situation in the Clippers game, although we won that one. But in this game, he was 6 of 8 from the field in only 23 minutes played, but grabbed 16 rebounds. So a 14 and 16 spot for Nick Richards. What'd you see from him tonight? And will Mike Budenholzer stop being the Wolverine meme where he's just touching a picture and it's Mason Plumlee's face on it?
Yeah, that's the one thing. I think you have to, though. Obviously, I think Nick Richards, the more and more, tonight was a great game, but the more and more he's really kind of implementing himself into this offense, He's going to get more comfortable with these guys. I think he's really applying himself now that he's on the Suns, right? I think the issue really with the Hornets was he's coming off the bench, but when you play on a team like that, it's hard to motivate yourself. I think with guys around him like Book and KD, there's reasons to go out there and just really do your best and try to improve to help this team win. Next game we're going to play Portland, and the next game after that, Portland again, right? So we're going to see DeAndre Ayton a few times. And you're pointing out in the playback, you're like, I can't wait to see those two go at it just because, Ayton is, in our eyes, just maybe a little bit of better version. In my eyes, he's a little bit of a better version. I just want to see them kind of compete.
Oh man, it's gonna be fun. Richards is Kirkland's version of Ayton, right? Like,
yeah, I think so.
I want to see. Let's put the name brand against the Kirkland brand and see which one's better. Even though
it's made by the same brand, I actually did find that out. Like Kirkland, like those brands are made by the actual.
Yeah, it's Grey Goose.
Yeah, it is. So these games are gonna be interesting, and the Ayton hate's always going to be there with me because I feel like it's his fault we're in this fucking situation with all this shit. And I think that, if Richards can go out and just kind of compete with him and stuff, it's going to make me feel a little bit better. It's just going to. I don't care what anybody says. I want Ayton destroyed on the court. I don't want him to ever do good on the court with the Blazers. I don't want that team to ever win 5 of the last 6 games or 6 out of the last 7
6 out of the last 7. He's averaging
I don't want
20 points and 12.5 rebounds.
And what scares me,
we'll get to Ayton later. Okay, that's on the up
but
next
what
segment.
scares me is that Portland team, man.
They have size.
They might have the same record soon.
We shall see. Well, Nick Richards tonight. Again, I like what I saw. He does a lot of little things well. He's a $5 million a year center, which makes him even more like every time he messes up, you can lean on that, right? And every time he does great, you can say, hey, price for value paid. But he just fits, man. He just fits. And Saul's right. He goes, Plum Dog, to be fair, played great tonight. And he did. I'd like Mason Plumlee as a backup center. I would love him if we go and get like a Goga Beats a day from the Orlando Magic, and then Plumlee becomes the backup to the backup. But a Richards Plumlee front line is serviceable, especially on a night like tonight. This Warriors team without Draymond Green and without Jonathan Kuminga is really undersized, and we should overperform on the boards the way that we did in this one tonight. We outscored them in the paint 56-36. You don't see that often. Now, granted, we out-rebounded them 44-35, but they out-rebounded us on the offensive boards 14-4. Not a great statistic there. But that being said, really liked what I saw from Nick Richards, as well we should on a night like tonight. Again, the only issue I have is I don't know why he doesn't get just a little bit more run. Like, why are we not getting 30 minutes a night out of Nick Richards? It's something that I don't know.
It'll happen in time. I think. There's nothing really too much to trust, and there's nothing too much to really just kind of fall back on. That's
a great way to look at it, though. You're 100% right.
Yeah, you just don't know yet exactly. There's gonna be times where I'm like, can we just put Plumlee in? This guy's kind of fucking up. So it's a tough situation.
25.3 minutes is what he's averaging right now, and I feel like with the fit and the way that he kind of goes about his business, 30 minutes is something we should be able to rely on with him, and then 18 minutes for Plumlee. And again, we'll kind of see how that rotation presents itself and is modified as games continue. I'm just surprised we don't see a little bit more of it. Just like I'm kind of surprised that we don't see more integration of Tyus Jones.
Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la. Uh-huh. Mr. Jones and me.
All right, I got a confession. This is my
Jimmy
confession. That's not Jimmy
Fallon. It looks just like what?
So Tyus Jones, 6 points, 6 assists tonight. On a night, again, where the Suns had 41 assists, their most since 2022. Only 6 assists from your starting point guard. And I wrote this big, long piece on Bright Side of the Sun that published this morning about how the Suns aren't properly utilizing Tyus Jones, that his usage rate is at about 15%. And why did we bring him here to do that? And here is my confession. My chick on the side got one on the way. And I asked you this during the playback, so you know the answer, but I'm going to pose this to the Jamsters. all right, who are watching along live. If you happen to be on YouTube or Twitter, again, thank you for doing so. Hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe. As it pertains to touches, total touches per game, where do you think Tyus Jones ranks on this team? That's my question for the Jamster. So again, as it pertains to total touches per game, where do you think Tyus Jones ranks on this team? So I'll let you guys in the chat let me know, give us a number and let me know what you think. But it's something I continue to be confounded by, is why Tyus Jones doesn't facilitate more for this team. And Devin Booker was the primary facilitator tonight. 11 assists he had, right? But the fact that you bring in a Tyus Jones to stabilize your offense, and he's not, at least from a usage rate standpoint, being utilized as much as I think the majority of us hope. We wonder why he stands in the corner a lot. And it's understandable that, from a size standpoint, he's not going to be a great defender, but you'd think that he would be somebody who just has more engagement with the offense. And so I put together this big piece talking about just that. And I was driving home today. I go, you know what? I wonder how many touches he has as it relates to the whole roster, because it feels like he never has the ball in his hands, that he's not bringing the ball up. And you take a look at what some of the Jamsters are saying. All right, John Tran says 6th. Saul says 5th. CL Oracle says 8th. Michael Kolb says 6th. The answer is 2nd. Behind Devin Booker, he has the 2nd most touches per game. Does it feel like that to you, Matthew? Do you feel like the Suns are utilizing him properly?
No, I mean, a lot of those touches do come, on the threes, but they're not utilizing him like we want them
real
to.
quick on that. Nobody has more dribbles per touch on the team than him. So it's not catch and shoot threes. He averages like 3.5 dribbles every time he touches the ball.
Damn, dude. It is kind of crazy. I think the reason is now that you have Bradley Beal going to the bench, you have, Booker handling the ball more. You have Beal handling the ball more. We saw a lot of it tonight too. KD, on the other hand, it's kind of taking a little bit of a step back. The offense isn't really run by Tyus. Tyus is kind of, he'll bring the ball up here and there. Maybe he'll get them out of trouble at times. But right now, like, what they're focused on is really having Beal implement the offense, have Booker do the same. Those two guys, they need the ball in their hand if they want to score, and especially Booker if he wants to run the offense. So to run this offense and to work with these 3 guys, who I don't know if you can call it a big 3 anymore just because Beal's on the bench, but you can't have really a point guard just kind of being a point guard. You can't have Ulis really use his strengths as a point guard because you want those other guys to have the ball more. So I think we were excited to have him. I think he's a fantastic player, obviously moving the ball around, but he's just such a good catch and shoot player right now. That's how I see him. So it's nothing that really concerns me. I think he's been doing a good job at doing what he needs to do to score points for this team and just hit big shots at times, because that's the only thing I think he's going to do from here on out. This team, I think, is just trying to kind of go back to like, okay, how can Book have the ball more? How can Durant have the ball more? And also Bradley Beal. I think they just want those 3 to have the ball as much as possible. And I know like the statistics show that he's 2nd right now, but I just think that's going to really he's going to take a back seat going even further into the season.
Yeah, I think that I was surprised, obviously, by those numbers. And I was just like, man, I just wrote this whole article making a case like, what's wrong with the Suns? And I'm like, well, maybe it's not equating to usage rate, and it's not necessarily equating to high assist totals, but he is more involved than I think I give the Suns credit for. So that's a challenge I just have for everybody. And I was watching tonight, and I was sure enough, I was like, oh yeah, he is bringing the ball up a lot more than I initially think that I absorb night to night. But I would like to see a little bit more just straight up facilitation. I would just love to see the Suns, as the remaining part of this schedule progresses, to try to work in some actions with Tyus Jones off high screen and rolls with Nick Richards. And you don't just do it from the top of the key. You do it from, the elbows as well. Try it in different areas and see what works. See how Nick rolls off of a high pick and roll coming, if he's screening and you're going left off the top of the key, if you're screening and you're going right off the top of the key, and then do the same thing off both the elbows and find where he's really comfortable, because that is an effective play that those two can run. And I feel like it's something that is another wrinkle to the offense that the Suns can take advantage of now that you have a Nick Richards and you already have Tyus Jones, who is a good facilitator and somebody's not going to turn the ball over and is going to make the right decision based off of what happens on that roll. If he rolls hard, you're going left and he rolls hard going right, and the defense adjusts accordingly, or they squeeze Richards, you're going to find an open shooter somewhere on the floor. And these are the little things on the margins that the Suns can do to make themselves better game to game. It's not something that is going to be the foundation of their offense like it was with Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire, but it is something that you should incorporate a little bit more, as those high screen rolls off of, top of the key and the elbows, and just see where it takes you.
Yeah, that is true. The thing that I always think about is, like, if you think about other teams, of course, out west, and you think about their best players, I know Ja hasn't been playing as much, but like you think about those guys really handling the ball. And if we're going to have our best players handling the ball, it's going to have to be obviously Devin Booker. And I know Beal moved to the bench, but it's going to be him too, whether you like it or not. I just think that, the way that Ulis is being utilized, it's not anything that I'm like really.
Tyus Jones, it's not Ulis. It's not Tyler Ulis.
I kept calling Ulis on the playback.
I know. I'm like, Tyler Ulis, fucking Tyler Useless. What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm just 17. I am talking about like the Suns needing that confidence in Booker and Bradley Beal to really move forward and be like, this is our team. Like when I'm on the floor,
the Suns having confidence in it. The Suns have always had confidence in them. It's them actually executing.
Well, Booker himself
and not turning the ball over. Yeah, but that's them having confidence in themselves, not the Suns as an organization.
They need that, because I feel like these are the best type of games when Booker is out there just facilitating, and he's just, because we always wanted him to be that guy 2 years ago. Like, hey, couldn't he actually add this to, his repertoire? Like and he
wasn't horrible at it last year.
He wasn't as bad,
right?
Yeah.
But defensively, we were so bad in those fourth quarters, and because of it. And while simultaneously our offense becomes stagnant, because you look at the numbers, and him and Beal on the court aren't horrible together. They haven't been horrible the entire time they've played. They just haven't, for some reason, they were horrible in that fourth quarters last year. But you mentioned Bradley Beal. Let's talk about him real quick.
And she said, "You're not the only one, but you're the best, Bradley." Bo, bo.
We don't need to spend a ton of time on this, obviously, because we still have some things to get to relative to the subreddit stakeout and talking about Portland next. But he did go for 21 points off the bench tonight. He was 9 of 12 from the field, 3 of 3 from beyond the arc. Wasn't big on facilitation, nor do we need him to be. That's the thing. It's like you talk about Devin Booker facilitating. I would like him facilitating and Bradley Beal not facilitating, because he's the one who he gets stuck. He's like fucking Eric Bledsoe, man. So much so. He did end with 5 turnovers. He had 2 steals. He had 2 assists. And it was really a rough start for Beal in this one, because he came out in that first stint, that first 608 that he played in the first quarter, and he looked horrible. But he totally redeemed himself.
Yeah, I think he had, what did he have, 7 points? Like automatically right after that?
Yeah, he opened the second quarter. He ended with a total of 9 points in the quarter, but he had 7 like right off the bat.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. He needs to have that switch to kind of just turn it off. So just kind of forget about the turnovers, because they were happening quite a bit tonight at really like unique times, just because you can tell he was trying to really do too much. And you definitely don't want that, because you don't want too much in his head of like trying to get everyone else involved. When he's at his best is when he's just trying to score, when he's trying to run downhill, trying to do his thing in the paint. He had a few good finishes tonight, but also just the spacing and stuff that when he's playing with like, when he's playing with Royce O'Neal, he's playing with Grayson Allen, those 3 guys, like, it's kind of fun, because you just know, like, they're kind of playing the same role as like a 6th man on the team in a way. Obviously, they're very unique in their own ways.
We have 3 6 men.
Yeah, when the Suns are rolling with that, I'm like, that is like a weapon. That is something that's like, if we can keep this together, obviously maybe Grayson Allen gets traded or something, or maybe the thing does happen with Bradley Beal and he's gone. But those 3 guys, like, they got to lean on that. Like, if we're going to have a hard time with trusting Devin Booker and maybe Kevin Durant to get things done, as our leaders on this team in the starting lineup, if we can just roll into that bench and be like, all right, these are 3 dudes that can just shoot it from 3. Grayson Allen, I feel like I like more than Royce O'Neal, obviously, but Grayson Allen is giving hell on defense. Royce O'Neal, obviously, is a big body to throw out the 4 if you want to play a small lineup. These are 3 dudes that I feel like no other team really has. But obviously it's going to take some time for Beal still to get better and better and better with that unit. But right now, like he's scoring at will and doing whatever he wants out there.
John Tran says it perfectly. He goes, this is the once a week good scoring game for Beal. And that's where he's at. We need like 2 or 3 times a week from Beal. Obviously, being a $50 million player coming off the bench, you need more production. But this was a good game. So we will take it at face value. Good
Is that a
game by
bench
him.
thing though? Like, is that just a bench thing where you're just a once a
It
week
shouldn't
guy?
be, though. It shouldn't be.
Not for him, but like I feel
Not
like
for
that's
him.
a bench player thing though. It's like
It
when you're on
is
the
a-
bench, it's like once a week.
It
thing.
is like Grayson Allen, yes. Royce O'Neal,
Yeah.
yes. Like once a week they should go off, and in a perfect world, it's one of them always going off every game, and that's what makes you sustained relative to consistent offensive firepower. But in Bradley Beal's case, he should be going for 20 points every night coming off the bench. Did you know that Eddie Johnson averaged 20 points a game coming off the bench the year that he won the 6th Man of the Year award? Imagine that. 20 points a game from a bench guy. Average.
insane.
That's nutty
Yeah.
shit. And that's like Beal's in the perfect situation to do that. And he needs to do that. Because again, to justify not only the contract, but the no trade clause and all the intangibles that comes with it, that's what we need from him night in and night out.
Yeah, he's getting there. It's just gonna take a little time.
Well, the time is ticking. And so far, I mean, he has. Here, let's look this up real quick, okay? I'm going to look up player stats. You ever fart and then you have to sit in it? And it's the worst thing ever.
No, my farts don't stink, dude.
Oh, man. Well, good for you. Yours are just loud. All right. Since Bradley Beal went to the bench, okay, looking up his numbers, Bradley Beal, so the Suns are 7-4 since that's occurred. He's averaging 15.5 points. He's shooting 52.5% from the field and 42.2 from beyond the arc. Okay, assist to turnover ratio, he's got 4 assists to 1.5 turnovers, so over 2, so that's not bad. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty impressive. 15.5, but I'd like that to be higher, and that's just me being greedy. Because I think that he could score 20 off the bench every night, and he should. He's Bradley fucking Beal. He should.
Yeah, it'll happen.
All right, let's
It'll
go
take time.
Let's go to Golden State, huh?
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
All right, so for those of you who don't know, we go to the opposing team's subreddit during the game to see what they're saying. I love that you've committed to the bit. I haven't done Batman in like a month. I'm just like, eh.
What are you talking about? How good you are at stuff? What did you say?
No, I said, oh, can you not hear? No, I said, I love that you've committed to the bit. I haven't done Batman in like a month.
You didn't do Batman?
I haven't done Batman. I just read the shit.
Oh no!
I need to watch Batman or a few Batman clips to get the voice back because I feel like it's just me going like this now, and it doesn't really sound like Batman anymore. I've lost it.
No, I think it is Batman every time.
Okay, well, Matthew was.
But what we're talking about, though.
Matthew
All
had to
right.
dress up as Gambit to go to San Francisco tonight to spy on the opposing team's subreddit. So tell us, what were Warriors fans saying about this game and the Phoenix Suns?
Yeah, well, I've been waiting a long time for this. I was down there talking about all the homeless people and all the crack smoking down there in San Francisco. So I had to get through all that and make it to the game and then see what their fans are gonna say. So right off the bat, they're talking about little ESPN, laugh out loud, ESPN talking to Nick Richards. That was pretty funny. They're talking to
Yeah,
Nick
they talked to
Richards
Nick
out of
Richards at the
everybody.
end of the first quarter. They're interviewing Nick Richards. There's like Steph, Book, KD. They're like Nick Richards.
I know. I was like, oh, that's good. I never heard his voice yet. So, Curry with 0 points left in the first quarter is blasphemy. Dude needs to have let the bitch fly, man. So everyone wants Curry to keep shooting. He did. He still sucks all game long, you know. But with a long time, but he's gonna get that. All right, there you go. It's right in there. Gotta creep in there. All right, so Phoenix screwed themselves trading for Beal. Thanks a lot. I know we already know all that. So
Yeah.
thanks for rubbing that in.
Yeah, anybody who
Even
comes
though
and
we
tells
got
us
to
that
win.
Beal isn't worth the contract, it's like hashtag no shit. We knew that the day we traded for him.
Yeah. Well, we were pretty excited. I wasn't on the pod, but I know I was excited.
I was excited that we made a move, but I was also questioning every aspect of that. I'm going to go back and watch that podcast or listen to that one again. That'd be an interesting one to go back and listen and be like, how did I truly react? Because I think I reacted the way I thought I reacted. Anyways, carry on. I was just so happy
Yeah, I
we
don't
didn't
think
have
I
Landry
ever
Shamet.
reacted about that one either. Yeah, so everyone's talking about Pods and how much he sucks. So yeah, Pods, you're in the L on that drive. I think it was the one where he actually ran into it was Kevin Durant. He kind of just ran into him when he fell down. He took 2 steps and fell down on his face. And Kevin Durant was just like, what the fuck was that? And everyone was just kind of getting on his shit. So Pods play like such a spaz sometimes. Pods is mad. He's mad clumsy and cringe. Laugh out loud on that one.
A lot of Pods hate, huh?
Yeah, a lot of it. All it was, I think, even after they went to the gym. So some guy went to the gym. He said, "I'm going to the gym," and then after that, there was nothing else. Nothing too much more.
So everyone left and go to the gym instead of watching this fucking game.
Yeah,
I don't blame them.
No one wanted to talk about this. So, are the Suns still terrible in the fourth? Everyone was asking because they were down by 20, and I think they were hoping for a little bit of a comeback there, but did not happen. So. What they did is if we drink every time we miss a layup, we would be considered a suicide cult. So they're talking about getting drunk and killing themselves off the missed layups. I blame Steph for his teammates missed 23 easy layups today, and someone else edited that, and they put 25. So I guess there was 25 missed layups. Booker single-handedly skull-fucked us. I don't know what accent that was. Hand in his face, he's still making some BS. And someone put Bobo splashing a midi.
Yeah, we got some Bobo in this one. All right. Well, good job, Gambit. Thanks for navigating all the crackheads in downtown San Francisco to get us this report.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
Anything else you had in your notes?
No, I didn't have a lot of notes tonight.
Yeah, we're on the playback. Sophie Cunningham got traded. That sucked.
Yeah, that does suck because her commentary is really good. So
yeah, and so which upsets you more, Sophie Cunningham or Skylar Diggins-Smith being traded? Because both of her I feel really good on the broadcast.
Skylar Diggins. Oh yeah, I forgot about. Skylar
Remember her?
Diggins. No, I think Sophie was. I don't know. I think Sophie. I think so. She was good. She brought an edge to it.
Yeah, and humor and like she brought some Suns Jam Session. I feel like she'd go there dressed kind of casually, and
she'd make Tom Chambers a little flustered there.
Yeah, he wouldn't know what to do.
He always has that. What's his name? He just reminds me if I was up there. Like I don't know. Oh fuck it. What are we talking about?
Real quick, this guy.
Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun
Not a huge Ryan Dunn game per se. Only 4 points, a couple assists. Only played 12 minutes tonight, but he did make the Rising Stars Challenge. He's a substitute on the Rising Stars Challenge. So thoughts on that, and thoughts on the fact that one of the substitutes for the sophomore team was Toumani Camara.
I think it's cool. I don't really care about the All-Star game at all. I don't really have a lot of thoughts on it as much. Like going back to the years and years and years, it's like I always loved it, but now I'm just like I can care less. I don't know if that's an Adam Silver thing. That's where everything just changes all the time, and I still don't even know what the rules are going to the game. But
this is the Rising Stars Challenge, so this
I know. It is different, and I think if they win, don't they play like the first quarter or something?
They played like one of the teams. There's like 4 teams now.
Yeah. So that's kind of cool. So.
I like that he got some recognition because I feel like you want to talk about snubs. I feel like Ryan Dunn was snubbed from the Rising Stars freshman team, the rookie team, because a lot of the teams or the guys who were listed are top draft picks, and I don't know if they've really been outplaying him. He's a contributor on a team that is he's a starter. He's contributing in a real way. Seeing Toumani Camara, I know a lot of people get off front. They're like, man, if we only had Toumani Camara, Ryan Dunn, dude, this team, if we had Toumani Camara, guess what? We don't draft Ryan Dunn. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Toumani is obviously, I think he's probably a little bit better. Let's see what we have with Dunn. Dunn doesn't look like a real player. I think it's his face. Like there's something off with him where
he looks like a shark.
He seems like a generated player. Yeah, he seems like a generated player on 2K.
All right, let's hand this out real quick.
Jam star of the game.
Who are you giving this one to, Matthew? Is it Devin Booker?
It's Booker.
It is for me as well. It is for me as well. Up next, I have to shit.
Okay.
Little Caesars just showed up. Little Caesars just showed up.
It was worth it.
We play the We play DeAndre tomorrow. You got anything else?
No, I can't wait to kill him. All right.
All right, go.
Hey, you're listening to the Suns Jam Session podcast, shooting the shit about the Suns since 2019.